Welcome back. And today's question that I'm going to be focusing on and talking about is which supplements are actually matter, which ones are important for supporting egg quality. Now, this is something that I see searched for a lot. It's something that people are always wanting to try and get an answer on, which is why I thought I would cover it here. So what my aim is for you to get from this video today is to be clearer about what supplements can and can't do. It's so that you feel less pressure to take a long list of supplements, so you don't think you have to be taking everything under the sun to support your situation. And it's so, therefore, that you can feel confident focusing on a smaller core number of relevant supplements for supporting egg quality. So those are the aims for what this video is going to hopefully make you feel by the end of it. So there is complete overwhelm on supplements. There are so many different brands out there now for fertility, for egg quality support, and it really is quite overwhelming. The market is saturated. There's more supplements coming out all the time, proposing different benefits, and that they're going to be the one to really support your egg quality to the max. And some of them can be quite expensive. And the big question really comes is that cost worth the benefit? Are they going to be giving you all those extra sort of notches on the egg quality ladder? Is it really worth it? And then when we look at more cheaper ones that you might find in the supermarkets, in your health food shops, what about those? Are those any good? Are the forms of nutrients in those supplements going to be absorbed by your body to the best potential and actually do in your body what we want them to do for your egg quality? People can often feel that they're missing out on relevant nutrients, so they just pack everything in. And that's what the market has picked up on, and therefore why some people are making these fertility supplements with loads of herbs and all these different things in, because they know that people are going to be thinking, well, maybe that will help me, I'll have that. And then they bump up the price, obviously, of those supplements as well. So what I want to talk about is what is going to be likely relevant for supporting your egg quality. But first, let's just touch on what can supplements actually do? What can they influence? Now, they are a support to your dietary intake. They are not a replacement. Supplements are not something that you should rely on. It should always be a food first approach. So I've done a previous video on different nutritional factors to be thinking, and I will do more in the future, but really ensure that that foundation is solid to begin with, that you're getting nutrients in from your diet and you're supporting your health that way first, because food is synergistic. And what that means is the nutrients in the food that we eat work together to support health, to support fertility, to support egg quality. So supplements are, I like to call them, a bit of a backstop. They are definitely not a magic pill. You can't out supplement a poor diet. So they are a support tool. They are not something for you to rely on. Now, when we think about egg quality and what contributes to the decline in egg quality that is talked about in the media, age is the first thing. So we are born with all of the eggs we're ever going to have. And so it's understandable that as we live our life, everything that we are exposed to in our environment, everything that we consume, everything that we breathe in is going to be influencing those eggs as they reside in our body. And as we age, then the quality of those, which has been influenced by the environment, but also just the natural deterioration of cells in the body, that will decline as we age. Genetics can play a role. So people have different unique genetic makeups that may influence how their body works and functions. And some people function in a slightly better way than others. And then there's the metabolic and sort of an inflammatory environment around those eggs where they are residing. So if there are any factors that might be increasing inflammation, illnesses, medical conditions, poor diet, lots of alcohol, smoking, if there's metabolic stress, then those kind of influences may have an impact on the quality of those eggs. So supplements can support some of those factors, definitely, some elements, but we can't override fundamental biology, which is aging. So there is only so much we can do to support that. We can't negate the effect that those eggs have been around for 30, 35, 40, 45 years. But we can support it as much as possible. So now we sort of ascertained what supplements can and can't do. They're not a magic pill. They're not going to fix everything. They are a supportive tool. Let's look at which supplements, when I talk to my clients and when I sort of put social media posts out, which are the foundational supplements for supporting egg quality. So I'll touch on a few of those. I'm not able to go into particular dosages, brands, unless I'm working with somebody one-to-one. So I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to give you all of that distinct information because it very much varies on your situation. And I know that isn't what anybody wants to hear. They want to be told what to take, but I would not be practicing ethically if I was to do that because whoever is watching this, two people are going to be very, very different and your needs are going to be very different. However, the first supplement I would always be recommending somebody takes when they're trying to conceive to support their egg quality is a quality prenatal. Now, the NHS guidance is that you have 400 micrograms of folic acid. I always recommend the methylated version of this, which is called methylated folate. And why I recommend that is because folic acid is synthetic. It's been made in a laboratory, and we know that the body has to process it through a number of steps to turn into the active methylated form that the body can then utilize for all the processes it's needed for. So when people take folic acid, sometimes those steps are not done as efficiently and as effectively as they could be because of genetic variations that many, many of us carry. So that is why I always recommend the methylated folate, so that if you are somebody whose body does not do those steps very well, we've gone in with the methylated folate, your body's got that active nutrient already from the supplement, and it can then go on and use it. So a prenatal with the 400 micrograms minimum of a methylated folate is essential. Now, prenatals also contain a myriad of other nutrients, vitamins, minerals. So what is important is to, in my opinion, have a comprehensive array of those vitamins and minerals rather than something which is very, very targeted. Because as I say, this is a backstop for your dietary intake. And there will be times when your dietary intake may not be optimal, periods of illness where your body might be requiring a higher level of nutritional support. So by having a prenatal which has a wide array of nutrients within it, that's going to be providing that support when needed. So it's going to have different B vitamins in there. They support your energy generation and functioning of many processes. It's going to have different antioxidants like vitamin C, vitamin E, zinc, maybe lycopene, other antioxidants like that. And it will contain small levels, potentially of other elements at much smaller levels. Iron is something that a lot of prenatals do contain, but this is one nutrient that I do check with my clients because some people don't need extra iron. Their body is very good at taking iron from the food that they eat, and too much iron is not a good thing. Other people, on the other hand, may have very low iron levels. Their bodies may not be as good at taking it from the food that they eat for many different reasons, genetic reasons, digestive reasons. Also, people might experience endometriosis or very heavy periods when they're losing iron through their menstruation more than somebody else might be. So it is important to understand your iron levels, and this is something that your GP can test or a private company like Medichecks can look for. And excuse me, and then be guided as to what prenatal is best. So some prenatals have a higher level of iron, some prenatals don't have any iron, so you're able to titrate that appropriately. So that's one element of a prenatal that I would personally be considering. What level of iron do you need? get that information from your GP through a blood test. And then another really important, I'm just going to have a quick drink, 1 second. Another really important nutrient in a prenatal is vitamin D. Again, the NHS guidance is to have 400 IU of vitamin D every day. That level of vitamin D is not adequate for most people to maintain the optimal level that we want in our body. So prenatals contain a variety of levels. Some might be at that kind of level of 400 international units. Some might be at 2,000. Some might be at 4,000. Now, again, this is where it's really important for everybody, but especially those trying to conceive, to understand where your vitamin D levels are sitting. So we make vitamin D mainly from our skin being exposed to the sunshine. And in the UK, between October and sort of May, we don't tend to make much of this because we're just not getting that from the sunshine. So levels of vitamin D are going to vary throughout the year. It's really important to have a blood test to understand where your levels are and be guided as to how much extra supplementation you need. So you can get some from a prenatal. It might also be necessary to take an extra vitamin D supplement to top up that vitamin D level. So again, your GP might be willing to test your vitamin D levels if you use a company like Better You or Medichecks. Then again, they can test your levels and they can also provide support on how much is recommended to increase your or to support your vitamin D level. So far, the foundational supplements, really good prenatal, containing a variety of nutrients, understanding your need for iron and vitamin D, and potentially a separate vitamin D supplement if you need to increase your levels to get them where we want. The next one I recommend for some people is an omega-3 supplement. So these are called essential fatty acids, and they are essential because our body can't make them. So we can only get them from the food that we eat, and they are present at the highest level in foods such as oily fish. So we're talking about salmon, mackerel, sardines, anchovies, fish like that. If you are someone that doesn't like eating those fish, or you're vegan, you can get them from algae sources as well, and you can get some essential fatty acids from foods like walnuts, and flax seeds. But the conversion to the ones that our body needs is quite poor. So you would have to eat so many walnuts and flax seeds that it's impossible to gain what you need. So in those cases, if somebody is not eating oily fish, I would recommend a omega-3 supplement because omega-3 essential fats are very good for being anti-inflammatory in the body. So any inflammation that we have, which is perfectly normal to have some, we need inflammation to live, but we want it to be balanced, and anti-inflammatory fats such as the EPA and DHA, which are the essential omega-3 fats, they help to form this balance. Another really important benefit of these omega-3s is that they support the membranes of our cells. So the membrane is the outer edge of the cells, including the egg cells, and it is made up of a lot of different fatty acids, but some of them are these omega-3s. And that membrane is what controls what goes in and what goes out of the cells. So it's really important to be supporting that membrane and therefore incorporating those omega-3 fats, whether that is through food, eating oily fish 2 or 3 times a week, or it's through a good quality supplement. Now, something to mention about omega-3 supplements is the quality point of view. Now, when we think about larger fish, they can accumulate heavy metals such as mercury. And so we want to be using supplements that have been batch tested for a quality perspective to monitor the amount of these heavy metals in them. So there are brands out there such as Bare Biology that have a very stringent quality control process. And those are brands that I would recommend you look at to choose a high quality omega-3 supplement. Um, Anything else I want to say on that? And also, when you say you have a different brand omega-3, one thing that is really important, because it comes in a liquid form, it's a lipid, it's a fat soluble nutrient, so it's in a liquid form. It's important to have an antioxidant with that as well, because over time, what can happen otherwise is these fats can become damaged. So we need the antioxidant there to support them and to protect them. So in your omega-3, you should have some probably form of vitamin E or some kind of antioxidant with that in the capsule. Okay, so that's covered your omega-3. And then the next one I want to mention is CoQ10. And I expect that if you are on a fertility journey and you have been considering egg quality, then CoQ10, or otherwise known as ubiquinol or ubiquinone, is something that you will have come across. Now, the way that I describe what CoQ10 is and what it does is I get people to think about their eggs like having a battery. So the battery in your egg is what powers and releases the energy that powers that egg. And what makes these batteries work is CoQ10. Now, when your eggs have been sat around for a long period of time as we age naturally, then the amount of CoQ10 decreases. So the ability of those batteries, otherwise known as mitochondria, the ability of those batteries in the eggs to generate the energy, which helps the eggs mature and develop, is deteriorating because there's not so much CoQ10 there. So those mitochondria don't have the same energy that they would have had when you were in your teens and 20s to help develop and mature the eggs. So it is something that is wise to consider. We can get some of it from food, but again, the levels that are required to support egg quality are a little bit higher. Now, there are the two forms I mentioned just now, the ubiquinol and the ubiquinone, and there is a debate as to whether one form is better than the other. In the body, those two forms interchange and switch between the two very easily all the time. Ubiquinol is known as the more active form, and therefore it carries a higher price tag. And there's lots of research evidence suggesting that ubiquinol is the better form. However, there are also many research papers saying that ubiquinone also increases that level of CoQ10 in the body and is beneficial. So I think depending on where your financial situation is in terms of being able to buy supplements, I don't feel that there is a much better choice to go for the ubiquinol over the ubiquinone, as long as you're choosing a product that has got research evidence behind it. So the brand of CoQ10 in that supplement is one that has got that clinical evidence, and the site that which you should be buying it from should be giving you that information. And so you would know there's a particular type called Kaneka, things like that. So it will tell you if it is clinically evidence and backed by research. One important factor to know about CoQ10 is that again, it's lipid soluble, so it dissolves in fat. So for the body to be able to utilize it the best way, it needs to be delivered to the body in a fat base already. So you want to be thinking about buying the CoQ10 that is in a gel cap. So it's already held in a liquid form, in a fat form, and then the body is going to be absorbing that as best it can. Now, the levels that somebody may need to supplement with do vary. One of the latest research papers said that it could even be as low as 30 milligrams a day for someone who's under 35 years old. But as women get older, then the recommendations and the research out there is using doses between maybe 400 to 600 milligrams a day. But too many antioxidants, and CoQ10 is an antioxidant, too many is not necessarily a good thing. So it would be beneficial for you to discuss this with a practitioner so you can get the level that is best for you. With my clients, I am tending to recommend between about 200 to 400. I don't often go up to 600 anymore. It's very, very expensive to be doing that routinely. And the benefits, I'm not sure the benefits are there at that level. So I tend to probably recommend a little bit lower. But yes, CoQ10, especially as we age as women, CoQ10 is something that can be very supportive for egg quality. And then the last foundational supplement that I would recommend and do recommend to most of my clients, if not all of them, is magnesium. Now, this might not be one that you think of straight away for egg quality, but magnesium is involved in the body in hundreds of processes, and some of those are energy generation. And again, when we think about the maturation of eggs and follicles and growth, then that is fueled by the energy that is released in the body, and magnesium is a very integral part of that. We get magnesium from the diet, but again, because our soils are becoming more and more depleted through intensive farming, the level of magnesium that we're getting in the crops that are grown is less than it may have been 100 years ago. So the amount of magnesium we're intaking will be reducing, and therefore I recommend supplementing with some extra magnesium. And it's quite a large molecule, so in a prenatal you don't tend to get very much. You might get 100 milligrams if you're lucky. It's normally less than that. And when we're thinking about supplementing, it's normally a few hundred milligrams that I would be recommending. It's also an all-round brilliant supplement for supporting sleep, supporting anxiety, depending on the form that you take. There are some forms that support things like constipation. So it is very important to understand which form you're taking, because that may have different supportive effects in the body. But those are the foundational supplements that I would recommend. So we're looking at prenatal, maybe extra vitamin D if necessary, an omega-3 supplement, CoQ10, and then some magnesium. It's very much an individual assessment, and I know no one wants to hear this because they want to just be able to be told what to go and take. But it really does depend on your situation for all of those reasons that I have outlined. So, if at all possible, to work with a practitioner, whether that is myself, whether that is another practitioner, I would recommend, even if it's just to get your supplement situation evaluated, and so you feel more confident that you're taking the supplements that are the best ones for you. And my advice as well is just to be wary of some of those supplement brands out there that might contain lots of different herbs, because those herbs can be very powerful. If you're taking medications, they potentially may interact with some medications. By that, what I mean is that the herbs can make your body break those medications down quicker or slower. So your medications may have a bigger effect or a smaller effect. So it is really important to be aware of what herbal supplements you are taking, even if they are just added into a prenatal. And also, if you don't know why you're taking one of your supplements, think twice about taking it. So review what you're taking. And if you can't answer the question, why am I taking this? What is it supporting? Then think twice about whether you need to be taking it. And again, having that practitioner guidance on whether it's something that's necessary for you is important. So, one thing as well to touch on is what makes your supplement needs vary between people. Because there are all these support groups out there, and people often ask what people have been taking, and someone will say, well, I took XYZ and I got pregnant 2 months later. Therefore, people wonder, oh, maybe I should be doing that. But everyone's individual, as I have said a number of times. And so, what makes those supplement needs different between people? One is your dietary intake. So some people may be vegan, vegetarian. They may have a very different supplemental and nutritional need to somebody else. Your baseline nutrient status. So we've chatted already about investigating what your iron levels or your vitamin D levels may be. Again, that's going to be very different from the person sat next to you. They may have a completely different nutritional need based on their baseline nutrient levels. Are there any diagnosed conditions that you have? Are there thyroid conditions? What's the medical history? So, is there PCOS? Is there endometriosis? Are you on any medications? And again, certain medications can deplete some nutrients in the body. So that's important to be taking into consideration. And your age. So as you can see, one size really does not fit all. And I know it's something that nutritional therapists and nutritionists talk about a lot, but I'm just really trying to drill that home. The personalized approach is best to ensure that you're giving your body what it needs to support your egg quality in the best way that you can. And then some common misconceptions that I just wanted to touch on, which you'll probably have gathered from the conversation already. More supplements does not equal better egg quality. It's those tailored supplements that are going to support your egg quality to the best that it could be. Fertility blends may not be right for you. So those fertility supplements that contain all those different herbs might not be appropriate. The really high dose antioxidants might be too much for your body. They can actually do more harm than good in certain cases. It's all about balancing any inflammation and oxidative stress in the body with the appropriate level of antioxidants. And we do get antioxidants from the diet as well. So if you're having lots of nuts and seeds and berries, extra virgin olive oil, oily fish, you're getting lots of anti-inflammatory, antioxidant support already. You might not necessarily need a really high level of antioxidants coming through from your supplements. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, you can't out supplement a poor diet. It's really working on that foundational pillar of nutrition first, making sure you're getting as many nutrients in there as you can, and then supporting from supplements after that. So when you're choosing your supplements, think quality, check for those clinical studies. If you're buying on a website or anything like that, then look for them to be saying that they are evidence-backed, evidence-based. Email the company, ask them for those clinical studies. What data are they giving you on success that people have had with those supplements? Are they regulated? And be cautious if you're taking lots and lots of different supplements, because those will have different nutrients in them, and those levels of nutrients then stack up. And for many different nutrients, there can be a toxic level. So you need to make sure, if you're taking a prenatal and a vitamin D, how much vitamin D does that give you overall, cumulatively? And is that the right level for you? Not just for vitamin D though, for other nutrients as well. So things like vitamin E, double check on what intake you're having. Vitamin A, lots of those, because those nutrient levels add up. If something sounds too good to be true, it quite often is. If a company is making claims that, this is going to get you pregnant, and, be very, very wary. They are not supposed to be making claims like that. We can't make claims like that because obviously with fertility, there are so many different elements involved. So if something sounds too good to be true, just that's a red flag for me. Be very, very wary of that brand, of that company. And if you have a more complex situation health-wise, if you are someone that's taking lots and lots of supplements already, then consider professional guidance, even if it is just a one-off session to review your supplements, review your clinical situation, and so that you can basically move forward feeling more confident that you're supporting your body in the right way. So supplements are a tool for support. They are not a fix. Those small targeted supports are often more appropriate than really complex ones. So looking at those foundational supplements that I've mentioned. I can cover sort of specific nutrients in a bit more depth in a future video. If that is something that you would like me to do, please let me know below. But I'm hoping from this video, you are now clearer on the roles that supplements play and what they can't do, and the limitations in terms of egg quality. I hope you're feeling less pressured to be taking a long list of supplements, and taking time out to review the ones that you're taking already and ask yourself, why am I doing that? Do I actually need those? And to feel more confident that you know what smaller group of supplements and nutrients to be focusing on that are going to shift that dial in supporting your egg quality. So please post any comments below, any questions on the information that I have shared. If there are topics that you would like me to cover further, please let me know. And I look forward to being back soon.